My sister blamed me for her divorce and made our family hate me. But when I exposed her dirty secrets, she lost everything. I never thought I'd be blamed for my sister's divorce. I mean, I wasn't the one who got married. I wasn't the one who cheated. I wasn't the one keeping secrets. But somehow, in her twisted version of events, I was the reason her marriage fell apart. And the worst part, she convinced our entire family that it was true. It started with a random text from my aunt. "I just want you to know I'm so disappointed in you." That was it. No context, no explanation, just pure disapproval out of nowhere. I stared at my phone, confused as hell. Disappointed? In me? For what? I hadn't even talked to my aunt in months. But before I could respond, my phone started ringing. It was my mom. Now, my mom never calls unless it's an emergency or she's about to lecture me about something ridiculous. I hesitated before answering. Hello? She didn't even greet me. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I blinked. What? Don't play d-" "I just got off the phone with your sister. She told me everything." At this point, I had no clue what she was talking about. I hadn't seen my sister in weeks. We weren't super close, but we weren't on bad terms either, or so I thought. "What did she say?" I asked, already exhausted. "That you ruined her marriage." I actually laughed. I thought she was joking. But she wasn't. She was dead serious. I don't know how you could do something like this to your own family. I was still trying to process. "Mom, what are you talking about? I didn't do anything." "Oh, so your sister is just making everything up?" Considering she had been known to lie to get out of trouble, yeah, it wouldn't be the first time. But this was insane. "I literally have no idea what's going on," I said. "Then maybe you should ask yourself why your own sister wants nothing to do with you anymore," she snapped, and then hung up on me. I sat there, staring at my phone, feeling like I had just stepped into the twilight zone. What the hell had my sister told them? And more importantly, why was I taking the blame for a divorce I didn't even know was happening? The next few days were a nightmare. Relatives I hadn't spoken to in years started sending me passive-aggressive messages. "You should be ashamed of yourself. You destroyed your own sister's happiness. Hope you're proud." She was devastated when she told us. How could you? I was losing my mind. I tried reaching out to my sister directly. No response. I tried asking my parents what exactly I was being accused of. All I got was, "You know what you did." Oh, right, of course, because nothing is more infuriating than being accused of something and then being expected to already know what it is. The worst part? I wasn't even surprised, because my sister had always played the victim. Growing up, she had a talent for flipping situations to make herself look like the innocent one, even when she was the one causing the problem. She would pick fights, say horrible things, and when I eventually snapped back, suddenly she was crying and saying she was being bullied. She lied about stupid things all the time, stealing money from our parents, cheating on tests, blaming me for stuff she broke. But this was next level. Because she hadn't just lied to our parents, she had lied to the entire family, making me out to be some homewrecker, and I still had no idea why. So, I did the only thing I could think of. I went to the source. I went straight to her soon-to-be ex-husband. Now, let me be clear. I barely knew the guy. He and my sister had been married for about 5 years, but she had always kept me at a distance when it came to her relationship. I had met him maybe a handful of times at family gatherings, and from what I could tell, he seemed like a decent guy. Quiet, polite, kind of reserved. So when I showed up at his place, I didn't know what to expect. He answered the door, looking exhausted, and when he saw me, he actually looked relieved, which was weird. Because if I had actually destroyed his marriage, I'd expect him to be furious with me. Instead, he just sighed and said, "I was wondering when you'd show up." That's when I knew. Something was seriously wrong with the story my sister had told. I cut right to the chase. "Why is my entire family blaming me for your divorce?" He ran a hand over his face and shook his head. "You really don't know?" "If I knew, I wouldn't be here," I snapped. For a second, he just looked at me. Then he gestured for me to come inside. I hesitated. Because the way he said it sounded like I was about to find out something huge. And I was not prepared for what I was about to hear, because when he finally told me the real reason he was divorcing my sister, it wasn't just shocking, it was worse than I could have ever imagined. I stepped inside my sister's ex-husband's house, my heart pounding. I didn't know what to expect, but I knew one thing for sure, he wasn't mad at me. and that told me everything I needed to know. Because if I had actually been the reason his marriage ended, wouldn't he be furious? Wouldn't he be looking at me like I was the home-wrecking villain my family believed I was? Instead, he just looked tired. He led me into the living room, gestured for me to sit, then collapsed onto the couch across from me. For a second, he just sat there, staring at the floor, like he was trying to figure out where to start. Then, finally, he looked up at me. "I'm sorry your family is dragging you into this." That threw me. Dragging me into what? I demanded. Because apparently, I ruined your marriage, and I'd really love to know how I accomplished that without even knowing it. He let out a bitter laugh. Of course she blamed you, and that's when I knew, whatever he was about to tell me, it wasn't just bad, it was so much worse than I thought. He leaned back against the couch, rubbing a hand over his face before finally dropping the bombshell. Your sister was cheating on me. My stomach dropped. That was not what I was expecting him to say. I had assumed maybe she had lied about something I said or twisted some minor event to make herself look innocent. But this was 1,000 times worse. I stared at him. "Are you serious?" He nodded. For about a year now, I sat there trying to process. Okay, that sucks, but where do I come into this? Why the hell is my family blaming me for her cheating? He hesitated, then he sighed. Because I found out about the affair through you. I blinked. What? He looked at me, completely serious. You didn't mean to, obviously, but you were the one who made me suspicious in the first place. I racked my brain, trying to remember a single moment where I could have accidentally exposed my sister cheating. Nothing came to mind. So I just sat there, completely confused as he explained. It was a couple of months ago, he said. You posted something on Instagram, just a random picture from a night out. Your sister was in the background. I frowned. Okay. She told me she was out of town that night, visiting a friend. I froze. Oh! I knew exactly what post he was talking about. A few months ago, I had gone out for drinks with some friends. It was nothing major, just a casual night. I had taken a few pictures, posted them the next day, and thought nothing of it. I hadn't even noticed my sister in the background of one of them, but he had. At first, I thought maybe I was mistaken, he admitted. So I asked her about it, and she completely lost it. Got defensive, started yelling at me for stalking her, said I was being crazy. Oh, that sounded exactly like my sister. She had always reacted like that when she was caught in a lie. So I let it go, he continued. But then I started paying attention, and sure enough, a few weeks later, I caught her in another lie. And another. I swallowed hard. So you started digging? Yep, and eventually I found proof. I didn't even want to ask, but I had to. What kind of proof? He sighed. She left her email open on my laptop. There were messages, a lot of them, plans to meet up, hotel confirmations, even pictures. I winced. Jesus. Yeah. He let out another bitter laugh, and that was it. I confronted her. She tried to deny it, but I showed her the proof. She knew she was caught, so she flipped it on me, said it was my fault for snooping and not trusting her. And when that didn't work, she tried the next best thing. I already knew the answer, but I asked anyway. She blamed me. She blamed you. Of course she did, because if there was one thing my sister was amazing at, it was playing the victim. And this was the ultimate victim move. She had been caught red-handed, backed into a corner with no way out, so she redirected the blame. Suddenly it wasn't about her cheating. It was about me ruining her marriage by posting that picture. Never mind that she was the one who lied. Never mind that she was the one sneaking around. Never mind that I had posted a completely normal photo without even knowing she was in it. Nope. To her, this was my fault. I sat there, staring at her soon-to-be ex-husband, feeling a mix of anger, disbelief, and exhaustion. Unbelievable, I muttered. Sounds about right, though, doesn't it? He said with a shrug. It did. It absolutely did. She had always gotten away with things by twisting the story in her favor. And our family, they had always believed her without question. So, of course, when she cried to them about how I ruined her life, they didn't even think to ask what really happened. They just took her side, like they always did. I clenched my jaw. So, what now? Are you telling them the truth? I tried, he said. But they don't want to hear it. They've already made up their minds. Of course, they had. It was easier to believe that I had somehow betrayed my sister than to accept that their precious golden child was actually a cheating liar. But if you want my advice, he added, don't even bother trying to convince them. Let them believe whatever they want. I frowned. So I'm just supposed to let them think I ruined your marriage? No, you're supposed to let them deal with the fact that eventually the truth is going to come out, whether they like it or not. He was right, because no matter how much she tried to blame me, the facts were still the facts, and sooner or later, everyone would know exactly who she really was. I left my sister's ex-husband's house feeling a mix of emotions: anger, frustration, and most of all, a sense of vindication. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't making things up. My sister had cheated, got caught, and instead of owning up to it, she threw me under the bus. And my family? They bought it without question. That was the part that hurt the most. They didn't even ask for my side of the story. They just immediately assumed I was guilty and started treating me like the villain. And honestly, I was done playing nice. If my sister wanted to lie and if my family wanted to blindly believe her, then fine. But they were about to get a reality check they'd never forget. I decided to go straight to the source of the drama, my parents' house. If there was one thing I knew for sure, it was that my sister had already poisoned them against me. But I was ready for whatever they threw at me. The moment I walked through the door, my mom shot me a look that could have burned a hole through my skull. "Oh, so now you show up?" she snapped. I took a deep breath. "Yeah, I do. Because I'm sick of being blamed for something I didn't do." My dad crossed his arms. "Your sister is heartbroken. She told us everything." I let out a bitter laugh. "Oh yeah? Everything? Or just the parts that made me look bad?" My mom glared at me. "Don't be disrespectful." "Disrespectful," I repeated. "Mom, she lied to you. She lied to everyone. And instead of even giving me the chance to defend myself, you just went along with it like sheep?" That set her off. "Watch your mouth," she snapped. "Your sister is going through enough already." "Oh, you mean because she cheated and got caught?" Silence. My dad's jaw tightened. My mom's eyes narrowed. "That's a disgusting accusation," she spat. I folded my arms. "Is it? Because I just came from talking to her ex-husband, and he told me everything." More silence. They weren't expecting that. Good, because I wasn't done yet. I pulled out my phone and opened the messages her ex had sent me earlier. Screenshots of the emails he had found, hotel reservations, flirty messages, explicit photos, all time-stamped, all undeniable. I held up my phone. "Go ahead, read it. Tell me if this looks like an innocent wife to you." My mom hesitated. That could be fake." I let out a sharp laugh. "Oh, for God's sake, how far are you willing to go to pretend she's still perfect? Do you even hear yourselves?" My dad snatched the phone and scrolled through the screenshots. I watched his face shift from disbelief to anger to complete silence. He handed the phone back without a word. And then? My mom burst into tears. "She wouldn't do this," she whispered. "She wouldn't," I shrugged. "Well, she did. And instead of dealing with the fact that she destroyed her own marriage, she found an easy scapegoat." My dad finally spoke. "She told us you set her up, that you planted something to make it look like she was cheating." I stared at him, stunned. Set her up? That was next-level delusion. "Oh, so now I'm some kind of evil mastermind?" I laughed bitterly. Give me a break. They didn't say anything because they knew. They knew the truth was staring them in the face, and they just didn't want to admit that they had blindly believed a liar. Finally, my mom looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. "Why would she lie?" I tilted my head. "I don't know. Maybe because it's easier than admitting she's a terrible person?" My dad sighed. I don't know what to say." I gave him a long, hard look. "How about, I'm sorry for not believing you?" Silence. Because we all knew that wasn't going to happen. I wasn't planning on confronting my sister directly, but fate had other plans. As I was leaving, she walked right into the house, and the second she saw me, she froze. Her eyes darted to our parents, then back to me, like she was calculating her next move. But I didn't give her the chance. I turned to my mom. "Ask her yourself. Look her in the eyes and ask her if I did what she said I did." My mom, still wiping tears from her face, looked at my sister and whispered, "Tell me the truth." My sister hesitated, and that's all it took, because that hesitation, it was everything. She didn't deny it. She didn't even try to spin another lie. She just stood there, lips pressed together, eyes flicking around the room like she was trying to find a way out. Finally, she let out a frustrated sigh and crossed her arms. So what if I lied? Boom. Just like that. The last of the illusions shattered. My mom gasped. My dad muttered a curse under his breath. And me, I just smiled. Because finally, after years of her getting away with everything, she had just exposed herself. After that, things happened fast. My parents were pissed, not just because she had lied, but because she had dragged them into her mess and made them look like fools. Our relatives, the ones who had been attacking me for weeks, suddenly went silent when the truth came out. Did I get any apologies? Of course not, but I didn't need them, because at the end of the day, the truth was out. And my sister, she wasn't just dealing with a divorce anymore. She was dealing with a family that finally saw her for who she really was. I had waited my entire life for this moment. For once, my sister wasn't getting away with her lies. For once, she was the one scrambling for an excuse, and my parents weren't eating up her usual sob story. I could see it in her eyes, the realization that she had lost control. She had been exposed, and for someone like her, that was unforgivable. My mom still looked shocked, like she couldn't believe her precious golden child had actually lied to her face. My dad, he just looked done. My sister, meanwhile, had switched tactics. She let out a frustrated sigh and threw her hands up. Fine. Yes, I lied. But do you know how humiliating this whole thing has been for me? I let out a sharp laugh. You're humiliated? Seriously? You lied to the entire family, let me take the blame for your mess? She shot me a glare. You still played a part in it. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, really? Please, enlighten me. What part did I play? She crossed her arms. You posted that picture. Unbelievable. That's what you're sticking with, I said, shaking my head. That I ruined your marriage by posting a completely normal photo? That it's my fault you got caught? She didn't respond, because she knew. She had spent weeks convincing everyone that I was the villain, and now that they knew the truth, she was grasping at straws. My mom rubbed her temples like she was getting a migraine. I don't even know what to say right now. How about, I'm sorry for automatically believing her and treating you like crap, I suggested. My dad actually had the decency to look guilty, but my mom, she just sighed. This whole thing is just so messy, she muttered. I don't know why you two can't just get along. Oh, hell no, I let out a bitter laugh. Are you serious? I didn't start this. I didn't cheat, I didn't lie. I was minding my own business and she dragged me into it. And you're acting like we're equally at fault? Silence. My mom wouldn't even look at me, because she knew I was right, but she wasn't ready to admit it. And honestly, I didn't care anymore, because for the first time in my life, I wasn't looking for their approval. I didn't need them to take my side. The truth was out. My sister had been exposed, and that was enough for me. I left their house that day knowing nothing would ever be the same, and I was right. For the next few weeks, my family was a complete disaster. My sister, now that she had lost her golden child status, started avoiding everyone. She barely even spoke to my parents, probably because she was embarrassed. My relatives, the ones who had been attacking me nonstop, suddenly went radio silent. Not one of them apologized. Not one of them admitted they had been wrong. But I didn't need an apology, because I knew, deep down, they were mortified that they had sided with a liar. And my parents, they tried to act like nothing happened, like we could all just sweep this under the rug and move on. They even invited me over for dinner a few weeks later, acting like everything was back to normal. I declined, because nothing about this was normal. And I was done playing happy family with people who only cared about me when it was convenient. A month later, my sister reached out. I saw her name pop up on my phone and almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the best of me. I picked up. What do you want? She didn't even acknowledge the tension. She just jumped straight into it. Are you happy now? She snapped. I blinked. Excuse me? You ruined my life, and now you're acting all smug about it. I couldn't help it. I laughed. Are you seriously still trying to blame me? I asked. After everything? You didn't have to rub it in everyone's face, she muttered. I rolled my eyes. Oh, so I was just supposed to let everyone think I was a homewrecker while you got to play the victim? It wasn't supposed to get this bad, she admitted. I almost dropped my phone. This was the closest thing to accountability I had ever heard from her. But it wasn't real accountability. She wasn't sorry for lying. She was sorry for getting caught. And that That was exactly why I was done with her. "You're unbelievable," I said. "This whole mess? You did this to yourself. And if you still can't see that, then that's your problem, not mine." She huffed. "Whatever. I just wanted to see if you were still mad." I let out a short laugh. "I'm not mad, actually. I just don't care anymore." And I meant it. I wasn't angry. I wasn't seeking revenge. I was just done. And honestly, that was the best revenge of all. That was the last real conversation I had with my sister. We haven't spoken since. My parents still reach out occasionally, but I keep my distance. Because here's the thing. Some people never change. My sister will always be the kind of person who lies to get what she wants. My parents will always be the kind of people who believe whatever is easiest for them. And I'm finally free from all of it. I don't have to prove myself to them anymore. I don't have to waste my energy trying to be the better person. I don't have to beg for people to see the truth. Because the truth? It came out on its own. And now, my sister is alone, my family is divided, and me, I've never felt lighter. Some people think revenge is about getting even, but real revenge is moving on. And that's exactly what I did.